I'm working on a project on drug delivery vehicles. So essentially, in order for the drug to get to where it needs to in the body, we need a vehicle which is going to be a nanoparticle, and the drug is going to be loaded on top of that, and then I need to build a shell around it. And so the idea of creating the shell is that the drug is going to be released in a controllable manner over time. Now, building that shell is a repetitive process. So essentially, I need two oppositely charged chemicals to be deposited one on top of the other. And one set, like two layers together, is called a bilayer, and each of those would take about like half an hour to do. And we would need about 15 to 20 bilayers, and that is probably looking at anywhere between 10 to 15 hours. So there's no way we can have a student like continuously running something 10 to 15 hours, like going in, out, from beaker to beaker. So that is why I wanted to automate the process. Since I had some grant money, I approached Dwayne Faust in physics to see if he could come up with a plan to just have a robotic arm to just automate the process. So that this is basically what happens. We plug it in, turn on the switch, here's a control panel. The students did a really nice job of building a keypad in. It makes it very, very user-friendly. Right now, like the one that I have set up is program number 1. So I get it to program number 1, then I hit the green button. That basically gives me the control, so I can scroll down through each one and I can see whatever is the settings on that one. That was one of the criteria that I had asked them to do for me, so that I was able to scroll down and choose the kind of timings and everything I needed. So once I look at it and I'm happy with how the setup is working, I make a check of it. I make sure I know how many times it is repeating. So this time it's just set up to repeat twice. And then once I'm all set, I can hit the red button. I'm out of the program, and now I can go ahead and start the deposition process. So it goes down into my first solution. And so every time we deposit a solution, we have 2 rinse baths. So it basically goes and rinses off any of the excess that may be sticking onto the slide. Once the cycle is run, depending on how many repetitions we have designed for, the sample holder will lift up, and it will basically stay up like that, because we actually need the sample to be hanging for some time so that any of the liquid that is still sticking onto the slide gets to dry. So which is really nice, because we can set this up in the late afternoon and it'll be done overnight, probably like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock at midnight, and we can just come in the next morning and then pick up our slides. So it really helps us to just make this process go faster. I mean, it would not have been feasible to do this by hand, like, doing this. I mean, not that you couldn't do it. I mean, of course, if somebody is able to sit down and put these slides in and out of beakers, you could do that, but it's just not feasible given the time length that it would need. And so just automating this process just makes it so much easier and much more efficient to be able to do this research.